And so it begins.
Dark were the skies and chill was the wind as the land was covered in a veil of malice. Across the hill did ride a dread army of the night, cloaked in mist and fog, prepared to rain down death and destruction upon the land. And the people did cry out for a hero, a noble soul to save them from their impending demise. Just as it seemed all was lost, in strode a mighty hero, clad in shivering metal from head to toe. Wielding a mighty broadsword, he did cleave his foes in two, smashing their ranks asunder with a righteous fury. And when the day was done, and the enemy strewn across the fields in pieces, the people did turn to the warrior and said, "We shall name this day in your honor. Speak unto us your wisdom." The warrior said one word that day: epic.
One man, one Murloc, one giant angry badger. This is Blue Plz. It begins now. Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and all those other holidays which we probably should remember but don't. This is Yule Plz here on WoW Radio with myself, TotalBiscuit. Right, why am I here? For what possible purpose could I have for sitting here doing a show on Christmas Day? Well, it's kind of a sad story. See, I can't go home for Christmas because I'm working on Boxing Day. For those who don't know what Boxing Day is tomorrow. It's a bank holiday, and it's the time where everyone come out of their houses and go with their cash to the stores, specifically my game store, and buy things. So, I'm working. However, I am getting paid triple time, so you see I can live with that. It does kind of suck that I'm not home with my family right now and not eating delicious Christmas dinner and receiving gifts. For those who are interested, I received 3 gifts this year. I received a small box of chocolates, I received a slightly larger box of chocolates from my manager at work, and I received a pair of socks and a turkey voucher. This is what happens when you send joke emails to your parents. I said to my parents, yes, I would like the 320GB Western Digital Special Gamers Edition Firewire hard disk. But if you can't get me that, just get me a pair of socks and a turkey voucher. So what came through the post? A pair of socks and a turkey voucher. Hilarious! That's great. Well, anyway, yes, I spent it. So I should be making myself Christmas dinner tonight using that money. But I'm not going to make it now, because I quite frankly don't have the time. What I am going to do is drink this bottle of Absolute Citron while doing the show. So, if the show degenerates into even more rambling and totally pointless rubbish than usual, that's the reason. Blame the evil Christmas spirit. And that's exactly what it is. I shall take a drink right now in front of the microphone. Excellent. Right. What's happening on the show this week? Right. What is happening on the show this week is we are going to give some things away. We're going to give you some presents. Epic Christmas presents. Yes, I did say.
Epic.
You know you love it. Now, I'm going to tell you what the prizes are, but I'm not going to introduce the competition until after the break. Because it's like seeing the presents in front of the tree, and yet there's not a hope in hell that you're ever going to get to unwrap them until the middle of the afternoon. You see, that's my childhood, folks. That's what happened. They're all there, just tantalising, ready to be opened. No, you can't open them until the afternoon. I'm sure that's caused some deep psychological trauma. Anyway. The prizes this epic Christmas giveaway shall be... Now, these are in no particular order. What I'm going to do is, the winners of the competition are going to get to pick, in an order of preference, what they would like. Because some people don't want whatever prize they might get. They might not want it. So they might want another one. And that's cool. That's fine. You will be able to choose. Now, in no particular order, the prizes are as follows. A 90-day WoW game card. 90 days of WoW for free, courtesy of WoW Radio. an Art of World of Warcraft book. Now, the rest of the prizes are from Warcraft, our store. Now, probably one of the biggest prizes is you can get anything from Warcraft. If you win this prize, you can get anything, any item you like. Whatever you want, you can have it. You can choose any item from the store. Other prizes include any value t-shirt. Absolutely any of the value t-shirts, whatever you like. Any pair of Warcraft-styled underwear. Oh yes, it's a classy prize, folks. Boxer shorts or a thong, depending on what your preferences are. Any Warcraft underwear. Another prize is any mousepad from the store. And the final prize, a copy of Blue Plz, the album, all from the Warcraft store. So, to reprise, a 90-day WoW game card, an Art of World of Warcraft book, anything from Warcraft, any Warcraft value t-shirt, any Warcraft pair of underwear, any Warcraft mousepad, or a Blue Plz, the album. Indeed. And I'm not going to tell you how to win those until after the break. Because I'm evil! Yes, I'm inflicting my childhood traumas on you. Ha! Indeed. Right. So what am I going to do? Let's look back at the year in general. In February, a game called World of Warcraft was released. Now, I admit, I'd heard quite a bit about it, being a Warcraft fan. I thought, hey, this looks cool. Then I found out, oh, it's an MMORPG. I don't like MMORPGs from experience. They all suck. None of them require any skill. They're just big time sinks that cost you money to play. Why would I want to play this? It's all a big grind, complete waste of time. And this is how I thought until about 3 days before the actual game was launched. My clan was in the beta, and they hyped it and hyped it and hyped it, and it's like, wow, this game rules, it's fantastic, it's great. And I got interested. I got intrigued by this. And eventually I thought, hey, I'm hyped now. I want to get this game. So I did. I went down to Game, the shop in which I now work, and pre-ordered a copy of World of Warcraft. It was there for me to pick up on the day of release. I picked up my copy of World of Warcraft, had a look at the box, and thought, ooh, this is a nice looking box. It wasn't quite the, wow, this is a life-changing experience thing that I thought it might be, but it was a nice box. It had nice pictures in it, and that always impressed me about box. Any box should have nice pictures. So, I took it home, and I installed it. Ready to play! Guess what? Account management's down. Wow! That was fantastic. I got my game home and I was so hyped, and I can't play because I can't create an account. Brilliant! And that's actually been a common theme. Account management goes up and down like a gnome's yo-yo. Don't know why a gnome's yo-yo is different to a normal yo-yo, but yeah. A gnome's yo-yo, folks. So, I eventually got into the game. I thought, hey, this seems quite cool. What character shall I play? So I looked at the guild roster and found the character we had the least of, mages. We only had 2. We had 11 hunters and 2 mages. I'll play a mage, I thought. I never was much of a magic user. I was more of a rogue, but we had 9 of those already. So I thought, well, why bother? I'll play a mage. I'll do something different. Whenever I would play D&D or any role-playing game, I'd always play the sneaky, agile character. It would either be a hunter or ranger, or it would be a rogue or a thief or whatever the heck you would call it. So I created a mage and I logged in. And what really struck me about the game, from the beginning, from the start, was the way it was done. The actual style, the graphical style. Not the graphics themselves, but the style in which the graphics were done. It reminded me a lot of Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 got a lot of attention for the way that the game's graphics were actually styled. They weren't necessarily fantastic, they weren't the cutting-edge graphics, but they were sort of... They were cartoony and yet not. They didn't go down the path of cell shading, which was at one point a fad in the gaming industry. No, it was just a very bizarre kind of style, a very unique style. And what impressed me more than anything was that style had been carried over to World of Warcraft. only with many, many improvements. So logging in expecting to find a desolate world, I actually found a world which was incredible to look at and seemed to be full of life and activity and spirit more than anything. And I liked that. And the second thing I really liked, quests. The first thing I actually did was thought, alright, I'm going to have to grind the first 5 levels. No, you don't. You get quests. And not only that, but when you complete the quests, you get a reward. You don't just get experience, we'll give you some cash and, say, a piece of armor as well. Brilliant, I thought. Every quest, there's a point in me doing it. Every quest felt like I was rewarded in some respects. Hey, I got a new pair of gloves, a braces, trousers, a pair of shoes, a new club. Every single one. And I liked that. I really did. Now, it seems to me the World of Warcraft has a very understated world. It's not totally over the top. Take Guild Wars, for example. Light bloom, glows everywhere. Everything, let's just put glows and everything. It's like a kid with Photoshop. You know when you get Photoshop and you think, wow, this has got so many cool effects. What's the first thing? Ooh, lens flares! Yeah, everyone loves lens flares. It's like that. That's the impression that Guild Wars gave me. It's like someone on graphics, someone in their graphic design team has found the light bloom effect and gone totally over the top with it. Games like Prince of Persia Sands of Time used light bloom very well. It gave a very magical, mystical feel to the whole thing. Guild Wars, like, woo, light blooms, in the same way that Doom 3 is like, wow, plasticky people, you know. Same with Quake 4. WoW, on the other hand, is understated. You don't have super mega limit break moves like you would in Final Fantasy VII. It's like, wow, I shall call a meteor to destroy half the Earth in order to kill this small rabbit. Limit break! No. A fireball is a fireball. It's what you'd expect. It's a ball of fire. A fire blast is just that. Ice bolts. Even flame strike. It's not, woo, bring down fire from the heavens. No, it's a pillar of fire and it's over a little explosion. It's understated. It's not over the top. But it fits. It fits with the graphical style of the game. Because, let's face it, there wasn't anything like that in Warcraft 3 either. Or in any of the Warcraft games. There haven't been those kind of spells that can wipe out half the map. You don't have super weapons in Warcraft. It's always been the theme of the game. And I liked that. That was a refreshing change. I enjoyed that. So I continued playing the game. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the way I could level my professions as I leveled. I could get little things with engineering that seemed cool. Dynamite, bombs, and a goblin bomb dispenser, mortars, and all this kind of cool stuff. But it never went out of the realms of the Warcraft sort of lore. You saw that kind of thing in Warcraft 3. Goblin shredder units and zeppelins and things which in any other world would possibly look out of place, but not in Warcraft, because you expect that kind of thing. I enjoyed the various locales. I also enjoyed the way that I knew where I was going. I wasn't totally lost on the map. It was a small map. It is quite a small world, but it's a nice world. You don't go somewhere and you find it completely desolate and empty. There's always things going on. There's always people there. There's always quests. There are now at least no areas that serve no practical purpose. Perhaps Silithus was guilty of that at one point, but that's certainly changed. It's a world that feels alive. And it's a world that feels like you belong there. Rather than you're sort of just a character walking around. Maybe like Resident Evil 2, if you remember that. Pre-rendered backgrounds and scenery. It was like a character was superimposed over a photo. No, it feels like you're actually supposed to be in the world. The style, the graphical style of the character, and the graphical style of the scenery, the landscape, it's all feels right. You're supposed to be there. And that's a good thing. What really thrilled me more than anything was when I first went into Ashenvale and I encountered my first alliance. I remember it now. He was a warrior. A night elf warrior. Scrawny little thing. Bit tall. silly ears. What did I do? I threw a fireball in his face. And ever since that moment, I fell in love with WoW PvP. Always a bit of a rush with WoW PvP. The battles are just the right length. Unless, of course, you're fighting Druid v Druid. Those last till the ends of time. However, the battles seem like the right length. They weren't too long, but then again they weren't too short as to not even give you the chance to think. No, they're not skill-based, but they're still thrill-based. They're thrilling. Every time you engage someone, it's always a bit touch and go. And that's a good thing. And I think that's what impressed me the most about the game. When I got to level 20 and when I started PvPing, and even when I got ganked, even when I was killed by someone 20 levels higher than me, it wasn't a problem. Because, well, okay, it's a war zone. It's a PvP game. I expect to be killed. That's fine. But I'll come back. I will come back and I will get you. Oh, yes. I will most certainly get you. And you will regret ever crossing the path of Total Halibut and his silly troll mage. You're listening to Yule Plz here on WoW Radio. It's time for a little bit of a classic. You know it, you love it. It's Terrace Batoni, it's Tybos, Leo Tulter. Enjoy. You're listening to the podcast and archive of Blue Plz. You can listen in live on Sundays at 17:30 GMT. That's 12:30 Eastern Standard Time with a lively musical pre-show kicking off 1 hour beforehand. If you like WoW Radio's productions, then make sure to dig our shows at dig.com and check out our website at www.wcradio.com. Ladies and gentlemen, do not be alarmed. A cynical Brit has been allowed on the air with a microphone. You will listen, or the kitten we have hostage will be forced to fight a giant badger. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Blue Plz. Enjoy. WoW Radio. Yes, indeed. The sounds of Dream Evil chasing the dragon and Terrace Batoni, Tyavos, Leo Tulta. No, I can't pronounce it to save my life. This is Yule Plz here on WoW Radio with myself, TotalBiscuit. I'm just staring at the size of this glass. It's like... I'm sure there's a term for it. A tankard. Yes, it's like a tankard. It's a large glass tankard. And I'm drinking vodka from it. And it's tasty. I'd like to thank the Swedes for producing Absolute Citron. And Royal Arcanist probably had nothing to do with it, but he is Swedish, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Right. It's competition time. Yes, it is. Now, I'm going to remind you what the prizes are, because they are most certainly epic. It's an epic giveaway. The prizes, a 90-day WoW game card, the Art of World of Warcraft book, anything from the Warcraft store, that's cafepress.com/Warcraft, go and have a look and see if there's anything there you would like. Any value t-shirt from the Warcraft store, any Warcraft-related underwear, any mousepad, or Blue Plz the album. That's cafepress.com/Warcraft. Go and check it out. See if there's anything there you'd like. Have a look at our new black t-shirts and the new Ask the Murloc merchandise, which is selling very well, I can tell you that. People seem to like it. We'll be trying to get some more stuff like that up quite soon. So go and have a look and see what you can win. Okay, now, how can you win these fantastic prizes today? These epic Christmas presents from WoW Radio. It's really quite simple. Except it isn't. It's not as simple as you may think. Right, you can win those prizes by being creative. Yes, I'm afraid you're going to have to actually exercise your brains on this one, folks. It's no easy question. It's no WoW trivia. It's an open competition. It's an open category. And your aim is to impress me. I want you, using any means necessary, to create something that symbolises a World of Warcraft Christmas. It might be a song, a picture, an animation, a story, a poem, or perhaps something else I can't even think of. But you have until the end of this show to create it. You must be creative, folks. You must impress me somehow. So it's a WoW Christmas, a World of Warcraft Christmas. Symbolise it with something. Something. Anything. Email themurloc@gmail.com. That's themurloc@gmail.com, which I'm sure will be posted in the channel in a moment. That's the email address. Themurloc, one word, no K at the end, @gmail.com. Email your creative genius over there. And it will be announced at the end of the show. So you've got an hour and a half, just under. Go and do it! Those listening to the archive, tough. You don't get it. It's a live show, folks. Only live listeners get a shot at this. Fat Loots. And speaking of Fat Loots, I want to talk about Molten Core. And I also want to know, what do you guys think of Molten Core? There's a couple of ways of looking at this. The original, not so much the original, if you count Ahn'Qiraj, but the staple endgame raiding instance. Molten Core, fat epics. Is it any good? Let's look at the facts. Molten Core is, oddly enough, set in a molten core. There's a lot of lava and fire and rocks in it. That is the basics of Molten Core. It's a cave underground, apparently near the core of the world itself, in which dwells Ragnaros, the Fire Lord. He was old when the world was young, or so says Major Domo Executus. So, big fire elemental, particularly angry, doesn't like people visiting, has taken up residence in a big molten hole in the ground. Now, that sounds to me like your standard dungeon. Your sort of standard, big, dangerous dungeon. It always confused me in role-playing games about dungeons. I mean, why is it there? What is this dungeon doing here? Why is there just randomly a dungeon in the middle of nowhere? I thought dungeons were supposed to be at the bottom of castles, sort of little torture places. You keep people in a dungeon. You don't have a dungeon that's 5 miles wide and is covered in traps and chests and all that kind of thing. So there's this big molten hole in the ground in which a big bad elemental and his minions hang out, as it were. Why are they there? Why? What's the purpose of it? The purpose? What is Luciferin doing there? Why are all these fire elementals running up and down and up and down? Why are their core hounds just, wandering up and down endlessly? What do they eat more than anything? Why are they there? Why is Luciferin just hanging around doing nothing? Along with the rest of the bosses, in fact. Now, this Baron Geddon's getting a little bit of exercise, running backwards and forwards. But really, why are they there? That's something that has been bothering me a little bit about the instance itself. What is the purpose of these people being in that dungeon? Why? Why are they there? It seems to me like it's a dungeon that's not really alive. It's an instance that serves no real purpose. Take, for example, the Scarlet Monastery. It makes sense. It's there for a reason. Arcanus Doan is in the library. As he would be. You'd expect him to be there. Why are all the other people there? Because they are either guarding the instance or they're worshipping inside the monastery. They're there. Herod is in the arena, as you would expect the champion of the Scarlet Crusade to be. Take Scholomance as another example. Why is Scholomance there? It's a training ground for necromancers. There are students all over the place. And strange creatures. A very interesting looking instance. Looks like Harry Potter's School of Wizardry gone horribly, horribly wrong. That serves a purpose. Stratum was infested by the undead in Warcraft 3. Stratum was destroyed. Everyone in it was killed. It's now the home of the undead. And not only that, it's a piece of valuable territory guarding the necropolis of Naxxramas, which of course is a forthcoming raid instance. And they're undud. Oh, they're undud? That's not a word. They're undead. You can accept it being there. They are there for a reason. They're mindless. They wander around for no apparent reason. That's fine. But why, oh why, are there 9 of the most powerful beings in Azeroth hanging out in a cave under the ground, doing absolutely nothing? Sure, they're guarding the secrets of the Fire Lord. But really, it does seem a little bit pointless. It might have something to do with the fact that the scenery itself in Molten Core is dull. It's lava, rocks, and fire. That's it. That is all there is. Baron Geddon's room looks almost the same as everyone else's room. It's a big hole in the ground with lava and fire and rocks. Arcanus Doan is in the library. Magmadar is in a cave that looks identical to every other cave in there. Interesting. So what do the Corehounds eat? Unfortunate adventurers, perhaps. What does Magmadar eat? If the Corehounds are supposed to be there to eat the adventurers, surely less adventurers would get to Magmadar, yet he is a bigger dog, and as such would need to be fed with more adventurers than your average Corehound. Why does Luciferin have gold? What's he gonna spend it on? It's the same as the old argument. Why do Murlocs have gold? Where are their pockets? Where do they keep it? Where are they gonna spend it? Because they're not actually allowed in any of the main towns anyway. It all contributes to the idea of a sort of fake RPG setting. It's there because it's supposed to be raided. It's supposed to be a place where you can go in and get loot and then leave. But did anyone actually think why it was there in the first place? There's a lot of things about this kind of setting that kind of bother me in a way. That you've got to suspend your disbelief. Why is it here? What is its purpose? Why are these people in there? It comes down to RPG syndrome. Role-playing games must have dungeons. They must have fat loots, they must have cash, big treasure chests, big dragons, and nasty things to kill. That's the essence of a role-playing game, folks. Dungeon crawling. Ever since the first role-playing games, that has been the reason behind it. Dungeon crawling. Slaying the big dragon. Save the girl. Get the fat loots. That's the reason for being there. Now, of course, Leto can always come up with something, because Leto's a lore geek. He knows everything about the Warcraft world. Probably more than the people who actually created it do, because I'm sure he makes some of this stuff up. But he says the reason for Molten Core being there is they're trying to summon up an old god so that they can make a stronger connection between them and this world, thus allowing a true elemental fire invasion of Azeroth. Oh, yeah. Lucifer looks like he's really helping there. He's walking backwards and forwards. He's not doing any summoning. I mean, take, for example, Silithis. There's some summoning going on there as well. The Stone Callers. It actually looks like they're summoning stones out of the ground. Why? We don't know, but at least it looks like they're doing something. What's Baron Geddon doing? He's running backwards and forwards. Magmadar is just sitting there. A very obedient dog, has to be said, but why is he there in the first place? He's there to be farmed. We want their fat loot. That's the reason it's there. But it has to be said, it does seem artificial in a way. Now, this is something that, to be honest, the older instances have been more guilty of than the new ones. There's a reason for Zul'Gurub. Zul'Gurub is probably one of the best examples of a setting for an instance. Why? Because it's there for a reason. When you go into Zul'Gurub, you see patrols, things wandering around. Ahn'Qiraj is at the blood altar, commanding his troops, his followers, his minions. You see the blood drinkers sparring. You see Jindo the Hexar dancing with his crazy undead sacrificial people. It's there for a reason. It seems like it's alive. They're there because Hakkar won't let them leave. But at least they seem to be doing something. They have their own little rooms. Each area is tailored for them. It seems like they belong there, instead of being a big hole in the ground with a lot of random spawns in. Which is what Molten Core appears to be. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoy Molten Core. It's a good encounter. The whole lot. It's got some good boss encounters in it, if a little bit samey. But it just seems to me that it's one of the worst set instances in the game. It's not that the boss encounters are weak, or the trash mobs aren't doing what they're supposed to do. It's just, it's a big hole in the ground with lava and stuff. And yet there's no real reason for them being there, or in fact for you being there, other than fat loot. Now I'm hoping this is something that will be dealt with in future, and it seems to be. The new style of instance design compared to the instances in the game when it was released seems like they've put a lot more effort into it as far as having a good setting goes. Something that belongs there. It's supposed to be there, and it's teeming with life. Admittedly, not particularly pleasant life. That's fine. It's cool. I like it. But Molten Core? A big melty hole in the ground. But at least it's got fat epics in it. Oh yes. You're listening to Yule Plz here on WoW Radio. Special Christmas edition of Blue Plz. Get your contest entries in to win fat loots today in our epic Christmas giveaway. Yes, I did say. Epic. Here's Cyrenia. This is Meridian. Enjoy. You're listening to the podcast and archive of Blue Plz. You can listen in live on Sundays at 17:30 GMT. That's 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, with a lively musical pre-show kicking off 1 hour beforehand. If you like WoW Radio's productions, then make sure to dig our shows at dig.com and check out our website at www.wcradio.com. Hide, folks.
Ask the Murloc.
Dear Murloc, I am a level 11 warrior and I would like a pet. Where can I get one, and what is the advantage of a pet?
Flour and beer, furnish yes, but cow and fear, furnish models, finish high, the Murloc, him to do, something, I can't quite remember what. Yes, come and sit on the Murloc's lap, my dear, and tell him what you want for Christmas. What? Questions? Humbug. Pets, you say? A pet is for life, not just for Christmas, you snarling worm. Large, giant kittens, scratch the eyes out. Yes. Here now, you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Oh, yes, most certainly. Murloc speaks the truth.
Ask the Murloc.
Dear Murloc, I used to ask for water and iron forge, but mages always said they were water spexed. So I created a mage, but I can't find the talent to spec water. What should I do?
You stupid knobstick. You've been fooled by the cunning mages. Water spec. No, seriously, pay attention, fool. To create water, you must spec frost. And then you won't be able to create food, which is fire spec, or portals, which are arcane spec. Yes, I think. You can only do one now, and bear in mind none of those specs allow you to do damage, because rages are underpowered and you can never kill anyone. So, yeah. You will have to spec Warlock or Rogue in order to do the damage, and yeah.
Ask the Murloc.
Dear Murloc, I am a low-level shaman, and I want to know what is the most fun spec. I don't want to be Uber, I just want to have fun.
I've absolutely no idea what you're talking about. You make absolutely no sense. No, you total piffling moron. You know what I think? What I think is that the only reason we die is because we accept it as an inevitability. Yeah. Murloc probably shouldn't have eaten the seed in the... Yes, the seeds. Yeah. And cognac. Merry Christmas, you piffling morons.
Ask the Murloc.
I think the Murloc's going to have to be locked up for this one. Last time I saw him, he was wandering around the streets with his top hat, cane and monocle. And, quite frankly, being a little bit... Ooh, what's the accurate term? Friendly with the female of the species. And that, my friends, is not good. I expect to find him... Oh lord, someone's spamming the channel. There we go, kicked. Gotta love it. Anyway, do not spam your entries in the channel. It's that simple, folks. If you want to submit a contest entry, then do so. themurloc@gmail.com. Email it. Don't put it in the channel like Spen just did with 20 lines of gibberish. No! You fools. themurloc@gmail.com, folks. Email it there. We've had a few entries in already, so get moving! Now, the contest, for those who missed it. I want you to create something that represents a World of Warcraft Christmas. It might be a picture, perhaps an animation, maybe a song. But you only have just over an hour to do it. So get on with it. Do it now. Something that symbolises a WoW Christmas. And you can win fantastic prizes, such as a 90-day WoW game card, an Art of World of Warcraft book, and a whole bunch of stuff from the Warcraft store, cafepress.com/Warcraft. Do it! Do it now. Okay. Now, that was Molten Core. And I got some interesting comments about the whole Molten Core thing. Other than Leto say, yes, well, they've got to be here. No one said they knew how to summon Ragnaros. They're just trying to survive, I think, because of how far they are from the old god they're tied to. They're weakened to a degree, and the longer they stay away, the weaker their connection to this world gets. Yeah, so their solution to that problem was to sit in a hole in the ground and look silly. Well, that's very proactive there. Fantastic. Now, I disagree. I think Molten Core is one of the worst set instances in the game, but it does have some nice loot and some fun encounters. It's just really dull to look at. Now, someone else made the comment that it would be nice to see Ragnaros perhaps get out of his pit every once in a while and come and ransack a small town. I agree. That's one thing that really gets me. All his instances, you never see them coming out and doing anything. Scholarments, they're training warlocks, but yet they haven't sent any of these warlocks, who seem to be warlocks and necromancers. They seem to be perfectly capable, good fighters. They could probably go and ransack a small village, should they wish to. But they're not. Ahn'Qiraj is not leaving her lair, even though apparently under the law she does go out and visit towns in human form. What's Nefarian doing? Sitting on top of his ivory tower, scheming. You don't see Nefarian... Look, the guy's got 10 million hit points. He could destroy Ahn'Qiraj if he wished to. He could ransack it, raze it to the ground, and yet all he's doing is sitting on his bloody throne all day. And that's one thing that gets me. It's... What I said earlier was that the world seemed like it was alive. And yet instances are the one thing that really bother me in that respect. They never come out. Why are they there? Apparently there's a demon under under Ahn'Qiraj and Rage Firegasm, yet you never see him outside. Now, at least they've sort of justified that in the storyline sense. They're plotting. They're scheming underground. Also known as they're waiting to be killed by adventurers because there's a quest to kill them all. It's not the best place to hide, really, is it? Under Ahn'Qiraj, under your worst enemy, Thrall, who you are trying to destroy. Fool. Someone suggested world events. And it would be nice to see those instances serve a purpose other than for getting fat loots. Let's face it. It would be nice to see the Scarlet Crusade march forth to cleanse the land, go hunting Forsaken players. All that kind of thing. But it doesn't happen. In some places it's justified, like Ragefire, or Ahn'Qiraj's lair maybe, but in other places, you do wonder why they're just hanging out in there. And to be honest, it's an argument for more world events. I haven't actually seen an elemental invasion in either Ashara or Silithis for a very long time. Now that was a world event. It didn't really have much of a justification for it. The elementals are invading for no apparent reason. They don't like us very much. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But is that it? If Azuragus is going to spawn in Ashara, why does he just hang around waiting to be killed? Why doesn't he go and kill some adventurers on his own? Eat people. That would be nice to see. I would love to see that. Dragon invasions. One of the dragon flights comes and ransacks a town. Towns actually being attacked. There's another thing. Doesn't happen. Raiding in itself, raiding towns, is now being made something very, 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 very undesirable because of dishonourable kills. That's a bad thing. DKs I disagree with. And it doesn't feel like a world at war. It feels like a world where two sides don't really like each other very much and are sort of hurling insults over a fence. There isn't a lot of war in Warcraft. And that I would like to see change. Perhaps the expansion will address some of these kind of things with the Outlands content, which has been rumoured to be a PvP-centric environment where it's free for all. Where, in fact, both sides, including NPCs, are actually fighting it out. Now, that would be nice to see. So, what have we got so far? Impedances to World of Warcraft and the overall feeling of World of Warcraft. The way that World of Warcraft feels not quite as alive as it should. More world events would help matters. DKs, get rid of them. Just get rid of them. We don't want them. So it would be nice to encourage more raiding. And it would also be nice to have a purpose. And this goes back to what I said shows and shows and shows ago. And that is the idea of being able to raid territory and take it. You can't take it as such right now. You can stand in the middle of Ahn'Qiraj killing off all the guards as they respawn, but you're not really taking it, are you? You're not staking your claim. You're just slaying people for the sake of it. That's something I want to see in the game. And I think, to be honest, the developers really do have to watch out, because there are some games in which not only does this already exist, I believe Realm versus Realm in Dark Age of Camelot has a similar function. But there are games forthcoming which will be featuring this, Dark and Light being a very good example. And I admit, that has tempted me. I'd like to see a game which is a little bit more dynamic, that my actions in the world appear to change the world in some way. Whereas right now they don't. I can't affect, say, the economy of vendors in any way. Now, I know vendors aren't all that important, but there are several games in which you can affect vendors. You can have an economy within the game that does not simply consist of the player-run economy of the auction house. Now, some games have gotten far too far in this respect, like Star Wars Galaxies is completely player-run, and that has its problems. But it seems WoW's gone the other way. I can't do anything to change the price of the vendors other than get, say, the Honoured discount or the Sergeant's discount, and that's it. I could sell 20 billion stone, 20 billion rough stone to a vendor, and the vendor still wants more. What does he do with it? It doesn't affect the price that he pays. It's just there for grinding, and that gives an impression of, again, a world that is not as alive as it should be. So what have we got so far? World events, raiding, territory conquering systems, and more dynamic economy systems. That's the kind of thing I would like to see. And of course the reason is, quite simply, the world doesn't feel alive as it should be. Now I may be becoming a little bit incoherent at this point, because I am drinking this delicious vodka, as it is Christmas Day, and we are allowed to celebrate in such respect. But if I do get a bit incoherent towards the end of the show and start slurring my words and talking about things that don't matter, then tough. That's what's going to happen. You have less than an hour to get your entrance. Your entrance? That's not even a word. Your entries in for the Blue Plz Christmas Epic Giveaway. You do not have much time. I'm not expecting miracles, folks, but just get it in. Get it in. The Murloc at gmail.com is the place to email. Now, it has to be said, the one thing before I go to the music break that I was impressed with, as far as bringing the world to life goes, has been the holiday events. Holiday, quote-unquote. The Halloween events were good, but the Christmas events have been fantastic. The fact that it was staggered as well, and it all wasn't introduced on one day. The quests, great stuff. Liked them. The stuff that you can buy. The whole kissing under the mistletoe thing, to get your fresh holly, and your mistletoe that will give you a nice buff, which is actually quite worth it. And today, the Christmas presents. Yes! That is a great idea. Whoever thought of that is a genius. It's fun. And it made me feel like I was supposed to be playing the game. It's like, here's a little thank you from us. That's great. That's really good to see. Admittedly, some people are idiots. And I've logged in alts to get more presents. And I'm trying to sell the stuff on the auction house. Personally, I'm keeping my preserved holly till July, and I intend to sell it for 5,000 gold. But it's nice to see. The whole Wintervale Festival is one of the best events I've ever seen Blizzard do in this game, and I hope for more Plz. More Plz, Blizzard. You heard me. More of the good stuff. You're listening to Blue Plz, or Yule Plz, here on WoW Radio. This has been requested time and again. Time and again. By a man called Strife. Happy Wintervale to you. This is Camelot. This is The Wings of Despair. Enjoy. You're listening to the podcast and archive of Blue Plz. You can listen in live on Sundays at 17:30 GMT. That's 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, with a lively musical pre-show kicking off 1 hour beforehand. If you like WoW Radio's productions, then make sure to dig our shows at dig.com and check out our website at www.wcradio.com. Yes, indeed, the sounds of the Quake 2 soundtrack, track number 9. Oh, yes. And Camelot Wings of Despair, as requested. Okay. Let's get on with it. I'm going to talk about Ahn'Qiraj. And I'm going to talk about the encounters in Ahn'Qiraj. Right. Now, I managed to get some information on the first few encounters of Ahn'Qiraj, and I'd like to thank Blizz Planet for providing it. And I'm going to comment on it. I'm going to go through, and I'm going to talk about Ahn'Qiraj and all this stuff that we really sort of know about Ahn'Qiraj. Now, for those who don't know, Ahn'Qiraj is a combo instance. It's in fact 2 instances in one. In a sort of similar way that LBRS and UBRS are 2 instances in one, only this is a little bit more advanced than that. Now, there shall be a 20-man instance and a 40-man instance, and they're both going to be behind that big, fat gate in Silithus. And there's going to be an epic world event, which will consist of you gathering resources in order to open the gate. And once you get in, yeah, my brain's not working. Once you enter the gate, open the gate. Ah, dear. Once you open the gate, you can enter and you can take on the ruins of Ahn'Qiraj. That's cool. But behind that, there's something a little bit more sinister. The masters of the Qiraji themselves, in fact, in the Temple of Ahn'Qiraj, a 40-man instance. Nice. So what do we know about it so far? Now, graphically, I've been into Ahn'Qiraj. I went into Ahn'Qiraj at the BlizzCon, and we did the first few pulls. Graphically, it's as you would expect. It's a ruin. Lots of sand. It has a very Egyptian theme to it. Now, whether or not that's a bad thing is debatable. I mean, it's not as if the whole place is obviously, wow, this is blatantly Egyptian in every single way, because it's not. There are things which you wouldn't really expect in there from a sort of Egyptian-themed instance, but in reality, the majority of it is pretty much, well, this is Egypt. Now, does Egypt or any Egyptian-themed stuff have any place whatsoever in World of Warcraft? That's debatable. It really is. Now, a big example of the whole Egyptian thing would be Emissary Roman Khan down in Silithus. He's a big Anubis-style character. Giant, big black dog. And you wonder, what is this Anubis-style character doing in Azeroth? He looks cool, sure, but why is he here? And a more blatant example of the whole Egyptian theme would be Assyrian, who is a big blue, humanoid blue bird kind of thing. He's a variant on Roman Khan. It's like it's the same kind of model. It's very similar, but he's got a bird head and he has wings. Not particularly large wings, just wings on the back of his arms. He's a big blue Egyptian-style demigod, as it were. Now, Assyrian. Osiris. Not exactly subtle, is it, really? Now, he looks like Horus, basically, who was the son of Osiris and Isis, with the head of an obsidian stone hawk. And I'm looking at the picture of him, and that's exactly how he looks. What is he doing in World of Warcraft? Why is Horus here? Does it really matter? There's no question about it. The guy looks cool. He's a badass. It's that simple. Big, blue, and incredibly unpleasant. Now, I've seen a video of a raid wiping on this guy, and oh lord. I mean, this guy is hitting for like 13,000 damage. It's an interesting encounter because the way that it's been done is that initially he is far too powerful to fight. He crits the main tank for like, you just hit the main tank for say 4,000, 5,000. It's like, well, you can't keep the heals up on a main tank like that because the main tank will not take more than a couple of hits before keeling over and dying. So it's not your average fight. I'm not going to ruin how the fight is done, but needless to say, there is some interesting positional stuff involved in it. You don't just run up to him and start hitting him, the main tank holds him and everyone DPSs him down, because it won't work. There are elements to the fight which will involve you moving a Syrian around, kiting him, and using that to your advantage. Now, he's not the only boss which requires this either, and it's an interesting sort of theme coming in probably from Blackwing Lair, I would say, in some of the boss encounters in there, that kiting a boss is becoming the way to fight him instead of the usual Molten Core style of main tank DPS. A good example of the way that they're changing boss fights as a whole is going to be Kuranax, who is a giant scorpion. Now, he has a cleave or a Mortal Strike style thing, and it stacks. Now, you all know that Mortal Strike reduces healing performed on the victim. Stackable Mortal Strike is not a pleasant idea. So what you're actually going to have to do is you can't keep your main tank there. It's not going to work, because if your main tank gets too many of these on him, he's dead. He can't stay there. So what you're actually going to have is you're not going to have a main tank, you're going to have a few tanks, a rotating tank system. An interesting fight. And it's good that they're sort of going beyond, going a little bit outside the box, as it were, with their instance fights and their new encounters. Now, there's another fight which reminds me quite a bit of Zol Farak. Now, basically, as soon as you actually kill Kuranax, a human NPC comes out, and when you talk to him, he triggers an event. His name is Rajax, and he triggers wave after wave of Kiraji warriors and flyers. So it's like the battle in Zul'Farrak at the top of the temple. You have to fend off wave after wave after wave, although this time you don't actually get allies to do it with other than your raid party itself. Now eventually someone will come along, a huge scarab on steroids, or so Blizz Planet claims, and his name is Baru. And the crazy thing about Baru is you can't tank him. No, you can't. I'm not going to ruin most of the fight, but I'm going to say this: you cannot tank him, and that's an interesting thing. Very interesting. It's a big change from the norm as far as the whole main tank raid setup goes. And I'm interested in that. Most definitely. So we can expect Ahn'Qiraj to be a rather interesting experience. Now, what I was saying earlier about Molten Core, someone suggested that the reason that Molten Core feels a little bit dead is because that it doesn't have a lot of linked quests to it. Sure, there's the reputation from the Hydraxian Waterlords, but really, that's not a massive quest line. Zul'Gurub, you are linked to the Zandalar tribe. And all the way up until Exalted with the Zandalar tribe, you get lots of nice things. There's a whole bunch of quests to do in there. Not only that, but there are a few quests you can actually get inside the instance itself. So it's a rep grind of sorts, but it's not a bad rep grind. I got to Honoured recently with the Zandalar tribe, and they gave me new recipes. They gave me a new necklace, which was nice. And they gave me access to some of their more powerful items. That's cool. Now, I like that. I feel that any major instance should always have some kind of linked faction to it. I think the one that's done it best has to be the Argent Dawn. Scholarmans and Stratum, the Argent Dawn link to both of them is exceptional. It's a very good system. There's a long line of quests with some very good rewards. And not only that, but there is some stuff worth having if you were to grind rep with the Argent Dawn themselves. And it's not so much of a grind either, because you get the Scourge Stones, which you have to hand in to the Argent Dawn. You get them from just being in the instance, from fighting, from killing. That's cool. What about MC? Nothing. Hydrexian Waterlords. But that's about it. So, that's one of my beefs with Molten Core. And Ahn'Qiraj is going to have some linked stuff, and that's great. It'll be linked in with Reputation. It's a good thing. The boss fights, they're going to be intriguing. Interesting. Challenging, but not completely ridiculous. Now, I have some things to say about rep grinds, and I also have some things to say about raid encounters in general. But that can wait till after the break. I'm going to have a look at some more of the competition entries. They're coming in thick and fast, folks. You've got half an hour. I will be reading them out at the very end of the show. I mean the very end. That's even after the usual outro music. The show will be running right up until the end of the hour, and then I'll play a few tracks at the end. So you've got some time. You've got about half an hour. Email themurloc@gmail.com with something that you have created that symbolizes a World of Warcraft Christmas. Anything you like. There've been some extremely good entries so far, and the prizes range from such things as a 90-day game card to the Art of World of Warcraft book, or some underwear from the Warcraft store, and many, many more prizes. So, get moving. Do it now, people. You are listening to Blue Please here on WoW Radio. What can we play? So many good tracks, and quite frankly, so little time to play them. Maybe some Slayer, as requested. A classic in the form of Angel of Death. Very Christmassy. Enjoy. You're listening to the podcast and archive of Blue Please. You can listen in live on Sundays at 17:30 GMT. That's 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, with a lively musical pre-show kicking off 1 hour beforehand. If you like WoW Radio's productions, then make sure to dig our shows at dig.com and check out our website at www.wcradio.com. Broadcasting across the world and around the globe for Azerothians everywhere, ladies and gentlemen, this is WoW Radio. Yo, ho, ho, ho. It's time for the special Christmas edition of Rapping the Forums. See what I did there? Rapping. There's lots of rapping. Oh, dear. Yes, this is the part of the show where we take the most awful, terrible, evil posts of awfulness and turn them into abysmally unlistenable, cringeworthy raps of doom. Okay. It's time for the first rap of the day. Let's see what he has to say. It's Xmas time. He's a level 1 gnome forum alt. whose realm is Bronzebeard. What is he talking about? I will never know. It's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Wow, in 30 years did you wow? Well, I think it is possible with the ramifications of time that the competition will be decimated and ambition left in the carcass of dear competitors. Namely, there 4 or 5, brave enough to tackle his demon, not in packs, but in single units. Were they in retrospect? Yes. Anyway, 30 years on will be stage 30 of the plan stage 1 has now finished. It went largely well, however, there has been a number of small problems. Can you name me the problems? Well, these are stemmed from graphics, mainly due to limitations of time constraints and numerous other sound bugs. We won't be able to merge with them for some time, if you see my meaning. But I digress, the main problem has been combat, which should be removed from the gaming experience. Because when people come home from work, they don't want to fight, as has been shown in numerous film and televisual experiments, and as a result of hallucinogenic energies beamed into the brain from these experiments. Now, as far as I can tell, you guys don't want to remove combat, as you felt it is integral to the gameplay. However, you have added some small changes, such as the addition of the heavy leather ball, and I think that throwing one of these is about much better than combat in regards to humanoids, with the other humans are playing a human as my main. It is a bit like a civil war. Are you trying to suggest that? Question mark. Question mark, I forewarned out this message, but there are other ramifications here, mainly that you cannot be blinded by the racism of delegations, including numerous third-party programs, or bots, as you will. I know you have done your part to eliminate the problem, but there will soon be grown a biobot that is composers of human flesh from Umbrella Corp using the W virus, and then Mako Energy shall power this so-called game. Merry holidays. As if it couldn't get any worse. It can always get worse, I tell you this. Even on Christmas, we'll find such horrible, evil things under the tree of the forums. It's Minskin. He's a level 59 Torment Warrior. His guild is Kajafars, and his realm, Balnazar. It's a 5 and a 7 and a 2 and a 3. Alliance gankers in Tia's hand. Buzz off. Seriously, guys, go and kill yourself. Get into BGQ, or you might even want to try and spend some Christmas time with your family. Dot, and a dot. Don't you got anything better to do than corpse cap and kill me while I'm trying to level to 60 in Tia's hand? Sadil, you suck so incredibly much ass. You couldn't kill me when you tried to gank me when I had 30% health. Then after that, I killed you in a fair match. After that, you tried to gank me again when I'm down on 50%, and yet I kill you this time. Then you decide to get another 60 rogue guilty and corpse camp me. Very mature. For your information, Tear's Hand is a crime place. Everyone agrees on that. So if you want a PvP, go somewhere else. No one wants your kind here. Thrash Minskin. Writing feels better. Edit. Wonderful. As soon as I get back, you two has gotten even more backup. Level 60. Pala. Rogue and Warlock versus 59 Warrior. Any wanna place any bids? Post edited by Minskin. Oh, the horrible, horrible pain of wrapping the forums. This is Yule Plz here on WoW Radio. It's the special edition of Blue Plz. Yule Plz, Blue Plz. See what I did there? It's very cunning. You see, I didn't really think Ahn'Qiraj would work. Has to be said, it just doesn't quite fit in with the overall vibe of the show. But there we go. I used the word vibe. Ugh. Right. What am I going to do for the last 20 minutes of the show? I'm going to encourage you to get some more entries in. We've got a whole bunch of them. Loads. I'm looking through them right now, and I'm also having a couple of select staff have a look at them too, just so we can decide who is going to win the prizes. Yes. So keep sending them in. You've got another 20 minutes. Right. Now, one thing I'd like to get out of the way before Imbecile of the Week, and a surprise karaoke session. You thought you'd escaped, but no, folks. It's my Christmas present to you. It's like the lump of coal that you found in your stocking as a child, because your parents didn't love you anymore. Singing! Oh dear. Come on. Maybe it's your Christmas present to me, allowing me to do that. It's fun! Get in the Christmas spirit, you miserable people. Right, okay. Reputation grinding. Why is it here? Why do we do it? And who thought of it? Right. Why does it exist? Reputation grinding allows a element of progressive content in the game. Now, before that, before we had reputation grinding, it was basically, you go into an instance, if it drops, it drops, if it doesn't, it doesn't. Nothing progressive about that. Admittedly, there were a few quest lines, longer quest lines, which allowed you to progress along them, but reputation grinding is probably the purest form of progressive content there is in the game. Every time you grind rep, it stays there. If you increase your rep with the Argent Dawn from 200 to 500, it stays there. You can't lose it unless you go and kill the Argent Dawn members, which would be really quite silly. I know Kiki Jiki kills the goblins in Booty Bay. Silly person. But then again, he wants his red pirate hat. It's acceptable, I suppose. But he can't go into any of that again. Anyway, the main point of the matter is it's progressive. It's dull, though. I'll tell you that. Now, there are certain examples of it which suck. The Timbermore, for instance. That is a pure grind. You go and kill the opposing tribe of Furbolgs repeatedly, and you grind your rep up with them. Now, I don't know if that's actually changed in the update to the Timbermore faction, because I've never had any interest in actually getting stuff from the Timbermore. But that's what it used to be like. It was just a grind. No particular purpose behind it, just kill our enemies and we'll eventually give you things. Kill 20,000 of our enemies, you get nice things, blah blah. Now, Silithis is an example of where they've done it just a little bit better. It's still a grind as such, but you can grind rep by getting items. Twilight texts, encrypted Twilight texts. They can be given into a NPC in Cenarian Hold, and they give you an increase. Not only that, but there's a big, massive sack full of quests that you can do to increase your rep with the Cenarian Circle. That's cool. But it's perhaps not the best thing. The best example of a good, solid rep grind that works, in my opinion, is the Zandalar tribe and Zul'Gurub itself. That is the best example. Why? Because you're going into an instance. You're going in there for loot, and yet at the same time you are grinding rep with a faction which gives you a large variety of good rewards. It has the option to grind it using items. Coins and bijous can be handed in for a set rep bonus. But you can also... you get rep as you go along, effectively. When you kill a boss in Zul'Gurub, you get a good amount of rep. When you kill her car, you get lots of rep. Admittedly, it does seem illogical that you only get 300 rep for killing their mortal enemy. But then again, that's the way World of Warcraft works. If you're going to have progressive content, it has to actually involve progression and not, woo, we killed her car, we are instantly the heroes of the Zandalar tribe, we get all this crap. Well, to be honest, everyone is going to be able to do that, so why bother? Whereas, if you make it progressive in that way, there's a reason to keep going back there. Even if you have all the loot in Zul'Gurub, you can still go back there for a reason. Reputation. Get exalted with the Zandalar tribe, and you get nice things. Yes, you do. Nice things. Good recipes. Free necklaces. And those deliciously tasty, what are they called? I can't even remember the name, but they're great. These sort of mangoes. Essence mango, or something along those lines. Maybe I'm just drunk, but yes, nice mangoes. You get those. Now that's cool. That's a good example of a reputation grind. Why is it in the game? Because the game is not skill-based. I've said it time and again, and I will continue to say it until the end of my broadcasting days. WoW is not a skill-based game. It's based on the amount of time and effort you put into it. No amount of individual skill will change the way your Frostbolt is cast or your Sunder Armor connects with the opponent. It's got nothing to do with skill. It's got to do with equipment and effort and time spent. Time spent equals equipment. Effort spent equals equipment. Equipment equals life. Knowing how to use the equipment, yeah, but let's face it, it's not rocket science, is it? Okay. I've got one last feature before I'm going to play you karaoke, a bit of music, and then announce the winner of the competition. People are trying to bribe me. They shouldn't do that. Stop trying to bribe me, folks. It's not going to work. Absolutely not. Right. It's time for the much-loved and much-maligned Imbecile of the Week. Imbecile of the Week. You know it. Now, I posted this in the forum. Occasionally, I actually get hate mail. Yeah, I do. I get quite a lot of it, actually, and it's good. I like that. As far as I'm concerned, the amount of hate mail I get is directly proportional to my popularity, which is cool. Now, here's the big thing. I actually got some quality hate mail. This is the best hate mail I've ever had. It's just so incredibly stupid. Now, the subject line of this... Right, let me set the scene for you. Last week, I did a little bit of a rant, as I do from time to time, about political correctness and how I feel that it's terminally stupid. The way that in America, the whole idea of Christmas has sort of been secularized, despite the fact that it is a religious holiday, and that's the only reason it's there in the first place. Happy holidays. It's the capital holiday tree. It's not the Christmas tree. These aren't Christmas presents, they're holiday presents. Wow. Not only that, did I say that was a kick in the face to many believers, and there are quite a few of them, oddly enough. You know, that is the reason the festival exists in the first place. But it's just spineless. It preaches tolerance and yet hypocritically does not tolerate. Now, after that, I got an email, and this is great stuff. And the subject line was, "You are about as Christian as Bin Laden." I was like, wow, that is a really good thing to open on. That sets the scene for a fantastic email. Here we go. That thing called political correctness only exists in the minds of people that want to use the PC label as an excuse to rant. Oh, really? Would you like to explain the reason that headlines are all over the papers as far as political correctness is mentioned in virtually every major newspaper every single day at some point? What I mentioned last time about changing names for particular, say, classes of people, in the way that you couldn't call a gay person homosexual anymore because apparently that's insulting. You've got to call them a person with sexual attraction to, or sexual orientation, in fact, to another person of the same sex. Apparently, that is better than just saying homosexual, and obviously that must mean that heterosexual is insulting as well, only it's not, is it? So there's hypocrisy right there. Apparently, political correctness doesn't exist. Right, well, in that case, would you like to explain that? Would you also like to explain why, in England, and yes, I did say England, a politician, political, commented that the use of the English flag rather than the British flag was in fact racist. Really? The last time I checked, my country is England. Yes, it's Great Britain as well, but it is still England. It's been England longer than it's been Great Britain. It's a flag, for the love of God. Political correctness obviously exists if things like that can happen. And it obviously exists if people are willing to rant. Now, he goes on. If political correctness exists, care to mention names and organisations that are responsible for it? Let me see. Governments and media. Wow. Political correctness, politics, government, media. Wow. That is astonishing. Rocket science indeed. And how are they enforcing their rules onto me personally? Every time that someone says, you can't say that, that's offensive. That is an attempt to enforce your rules onto me. That's what you're attempting to do right now, in fact. You're attempting to enforce your rules, your crazy belief that political correctness does not exist. You're attempting to enforce it onto me by saying that I am stupid for believing it. I'm as Christian as Bin Laden, apparently. No one is pointing... He says this. No one is pointing a trigger at my head and telling me to say winter holiday instead of Christmas. But other people have got equal right to call it whatever they like. But that's not really the point, is it? They can call it whatever they like, should they wish to. But the fact of the matter is, it's Christmas. That's the reason it exists in the first place. It's not holidays, it's Christmas. If you want to call it holidays, that's fine. But don't try to ostracize the idea that it's Christmas. Don't try and separate it, secularize it, because that's not what it is. It's Christmas. That's the reason it exists. You can't simply trivialize that, and you certainly can't ignore it, because it's basic fact. And to do anything else is simply narrow-minded. Fear of persecution. Christians, it's in your mind the religious are also intolerant, even if they don't recognize it. Newsflash, everyone in the world is intolerant. People in every single major group, whether it be creed, colour, nationality, gender, anything, have intolerant morons. And it's amazing that someone can then claim that, ooh, religious people are intolerant. Wow, that's a generalization. Possibly even an intolerant generalization there. Wow. Hypocrisy for the win, folks, here on Yule Plz. And this is great at the end. I point you to secularism.org, the National Secular Society, from Steve the Atheist. Oh, you're so hardcore. Wow. It's like atheism has become the new black these days. Oh, I'm so cool. I don't believe in a god. I dismiss the idea that perhaps there could be a being more powerful than myself. I'm atheist. Now, nothing against atheists. Absolutely not. But when people have a genuine belief, whatever it is, that's cool. But it does seem to me that some people seem to pick up beliefs, and this is true of both religion. They can use religion as an excuse for doing something that they shouldn't, and they can also use atheism as an excuse for doing what they shouldn't. I don't fear, punishment in the next life because I don't believe in a god. I can do whatever I like. Or, I believe that my god will save me no matter what I do, so I'm going to go and murder innocent people. As usual, both sides are stupid. Absolutely, moronically beyond the level of stupid, in fact. If there was a word for just how ridiculously stupid people like this are, then I would use it. But at the moment, I'm just going to have to deal with it. Ridiculously stupid. Both sides. The whole world is filled with stupid people, and this is a perfect example. And the stupidest people are those who are hypocritical. Which is the very reason why... Can I remember his name? No, I can't. Nor do I care. Steve, the atheist. You qualify for... Imbecile. Of the week. You've been listening to Yule Plz here on WoW Radio. Oh noes, it's time for karaoke. Run away. Run away. I'm not even going to name the song. I'm just going to play it. And then I'm going to play a few more tracks and then announce the winner of the epic giveaway today. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you've had a really good Christmas, or holiday, or Hanukkah, or whatever you would like to call it. But please remember, hypocrisy for the lose. This is TotalBiscuit signing off. And singing off, in fact. Run away, folks.
listening to the podcast and archive of Blue Please. You can listen in live on Sundays at 17:30 GMT. That's 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, with a lively musical pre-show kicking off 1 hour beforehand. If you like WOW Radio's productions, then make sure to dig our shows at dig.com and check out our website at www.wcradio.com.
Yes, indeed, folks. The fix is in, and we have the list of the winners for the competition. Now, I want to explain this. Basically, when we decided not to do a case of having, wow, this is first prize, this is second prize, because people who win those prizes might not actually want them. So what I'm going to ask is for all of those who have won to send to the Murloc at gmail.com a preference list from 1 to 7, because there are 7 prizes, and which you prefer in order of preference. Now, obviously, the overall winner is going to get his first preference fulfilled. So you want to put the thing you want the most at the front, in the case that you may win. Obviously, you may win first prize. So keep going down the list. Make a list of the following items. Now, the prizes available today are as follows. As soon as I can actually load the thing up. A 90-day WoW game card. That's 90 days of playtime on WoW. An Art of World of Warcraft book. Anything from Warcraft. Literally anything. Any one item of your choice. Any value t-shirt. That's the $10 ones, the $9.99 or whatever. Any Warcraft underwear. That's the boxer shorts and thongs. Any of those. Any mouse pad. And a Blue Please the album. 7 prizes. And if you win, you are going to need to make a preference list for me. Obviously, I'll repeat these after I've announced the winners. Now, it was a very hard decision, has to be said. Lots of really good entries come in. Lots of very good entries. Now, I'm going to start at number 7 and work our way up. They were all fantastic, but you can't all win something. Now, I'm going to go from number 7 to number 1. Number 7 is Shadran for his story, and I'm going to read that out for you. The stockings were hung on that tree, I remember them. As I left Ogrimmar, my undead body felt heavier than usual. I didn't remember the merry season from my living times, and I didn't care. I had a job to do. Heading towards the Elven City, I felt a sense of trepidation. As I entered my stealth walk, I slipped past the guards and down to the docks, sneaking onto a boat and passed through the human town with no problems whatsoever. I left the walk and decided that I could survive a run to the Ironforge, capital of the dwarves. Passing through some orc-contested lands was no large feat, and I neared the smoky plumes of Ironforge. Now it became tricky. The dwarven guards were blessedly drunk on eggnog and did not notice my stealth walk. I slipped into the town, and there it was, the tree, Ironforge's tree, with a jolly red fat man sitting rather close to it. This, then, was the right place. I had my mark. I crept up to the tree and snuck behind it. Keeping low, I maneuvered myself into a position and reached out. Success! The fat man wouldn't miss this cookie. I had gotten hungry, but now for the real job. Searching the tree's base, I found a lot of presents, silly gifts. But what could I do other than my job? It took careful precision, acute senses, and I dare say a bit of the demon's old look, but I found it. From Jaina Proudmoore to Anduin Rin. Picking it up, I stored it in a backpack and slipped out of the city, thanking whatever gods were left in the world that I hadn't been spotted, and ran down the hill as fast as I dared, not caring that the dwarves trained their young not very far from my position. And I tore open the gift, nearly as giddy as I had been in my youth. My mission was complete. The hoard was safe. Jaina had only bought the human king some socks. Finn. Shadran. Number 7. Number 6 goes to Zinnik for his, quote, crappy image, which I was extremely impressed with, and I'm going to upload the winning images, and there are a couple, to the site for everyone to see. It's a troll and a Christmas tree and a lovely sort of minimalistic kind of drawing, and it's great. And as such, you win number 6. Number 5 goes to Hildana for an image that has to be explained, and I will again post this image up. Basically, it's an image with a dollar sign, a picture of a very small brain, and an equals happy winter veil. And the explanation is the gold with the dollar signs symbolise greedy people that want to exploit every situation to their own winning, farm small eggs and sell them for ridiculous prices. Homer Simpson symbolises lazy and stupid people that actually buy the eggs and those cookies for ridiculous prices. Arg, I hate these people, and Murlocs. Taking the symbolism to a whole new level there. Well done. You are number 5. Number 4, James Sperry. And let's see what he actually sent. Where is it? There we go. It's a poem. And I shall read that out for you. A WoW Christmas. From Ahn'Qiraj. Now listen to me close and I'll tell you a tale about a WoW winter all snowy and pale, where snowballs were flung at big talking cows, where Great Father Winter greeted all who played WoW. Merry Wintervale, shouted that merry old chap, whilst I came to sit and right down on his lap. Now run along, he said with a tired smile on his face, but bring back some cookies and a large flagon of ale. There were small, friendly gnomes around underfoot, on their backs carrying large sacks of Christmassy loot. However, nothing could ever compare to the fright of a large Kodo reindeer all lit up in the night, with its nose emitting a red glow of light. The eggnog, when drunk by all classes and creeds, turned one's flesh to snow. 'Twas chilling indeed. The goblins were quick to make a quick buck, selling cheap drinks, which was just to my luck. I ran around Org in a blind drunken haze, shouting out joy to all passers-by. I found a lone night elf in Christmas attire, and made a move that I now rather admire. I gave her a kiss, then a sheepish smile, and into my pocket she put mistletoe. The presents were great by any degree, a small immobile snowman who stood right next to me. The Murloc I did listen to on Christmas Day had drunk so much Chardonnay, 'twas helping young noobs despite his present state. And the end of all this, I was quite upset. The Christmas lights will soon be gone, and no hot Christmas night elves will still kiss me. No more snow flesh, no more cheap drinks, no more Great Father Winter drinking vast flagons of ale. No more small Christmas-suited gnomes with winter loot. No more drunk Murloc, well, at least for a week. The jolly Christmas WoW will soon be gone, and once more I must rely on Blue Plz and other WoW radio shows just to bring me my joy until next year. And now it is time to end this poem, but to sum up, ale plus Great Father Winter plus Kodo reindeers plus Snowflesh but Cheap Blues plus the drunk Murloc plus Yule Plz plus Christmas WoW equals the most epic Christmas in history. Nice. James Sperry, you are number 4. Number 3, a personality which quite a few of the WoW community should recognise. Now, where did I hide it? Where is it? Aha. His name is Lorne Horning, better known as Nobunaga. And he is number 3. And he created a song to the tune of Grinch Stole Christmas. I'm going to read the lyrics out because I don't actually know Grinch Stole Christmas. All the players down in Azeroth like Christmas a lot, but the Blizzard staff who lived just north of Azeroth did not. The Blizzard hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Oh, please don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason. It could be perhaps that their shoes were too tight, or maybe their heads weren't screwed on just right. But I think that the best reason of all may have been that their hearts were 2 sizes too small. Blizzard staff said, we must stop this whole thing. Why, for 1 whole year we've put up with it to now. We must stop Christmas from coming, but how? It came without ribbons, it came without tags, it came without packages, boxes or bags. And they puzzled 3 hours till their puzzlers were sore. They kept on puzzling till they could puzzle no more. Then the Blizzard staff thought of something they hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, they thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more. And then the true meaning of Christmas came through, and the Blizzard staff found the strength of 10 Grinches plus 2. It's the fat loots, they cried, as the thought did hit. New content and Christmas cheer they did bring. They brought about the new year with a mighty big crit. And from the sky the loots did rain down. The little boys and girls of Azeroth could only cheer at the little gnome helpers that they could enslave the coming year. And so Blizzard brought more fat loots to their fans and dispelled the curse that the boards had bestowed. Blizzard loves Christmas, whatever its fame. Wintervale, Festivus, Christmas and more. It's all about getting the fat loots galore. Fat loots for all. And to truly epic night Nobunaga and his crazy plagiarism. It's number 4. Oh, was it? Sorry, that was number 3. Yeah. Number 2. A late entry, but good nonetheless. Let me find it. It goes to Arx, also known as Aaron or Heike, for his WoW Christmas image, which was certainly the most artistic thing I've actually seen. Very artistic, very good. And that's number 2. I shall upload it to the site. Number 1 in our epic Christmas giveaway. It's David Lane for a Warcraft Christmas. I shall read this one out to you. 'Twas the night before Wintervale. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the realms many a creature was stirring, even elms in fully helms. Dead elves were hung from the chimney without care, in hopes great Father Winter soon would be there. Alliance were nestled, all snug in their homes, except for Mechatalk and the rest of the gnomes, with TB in his fat helm, and I with my staff, have been queuing up for Warsong for an hour and a half. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, when through world defence there came much worried chatter. Crossroads being raided, screw the battlegrounds, they don't matter. Away to the flight point I ran in a flash, I hopped a rider to the barrens, geared up for a clash. The moon in the sky gave light to the scene, and the coming battle for which I was quite keen. As I landed and rushed to buff my gear, the attacker wasn't attacking, it was just a big fat guy and one reindeer. The driver was dressed in red from head to his toes. It's Great Father Winter, you noob, he's not one of our foes. More quickly than bat, his antlered coursers did pass, and he /yelled and emoted and called us by class. Now Warlock, now Shaman, now Mage and Healer, on Rogue, on Warrior, on Druid, on Hunter, come find your loot. The quest starts at Orgrimmar. It's really quite easy, you won't travel far. And I heard him exclaim as he flew out of sight, Happy Wintervale to all, and to all, a good fight. Asgard on Ahn'Qiraj, aka David Lane from Calgary in Canada. You are number 1. So, going back through in order. Number 7 goes to Shadra. Number 6 goes to Zinnik. Number 5 to Hildana. Number 4 to James Sperry. Number 3, our very own Nobunaga. Number 2, Aaron Arx. And number 1, David Lane. All of you, email themurloc@gmail.com with your preference list of the 7 prizes, which are as follows. The 90-day WoW game card, the Art of World of Warcraft, anything in the Warcraft store, any value t-shirt from the Warcraft store, any Warcraft underwear, any mouse pad, and Blue Please the album. That was the epic Christmas giveaway. You'll be listening to Blue Please or Yule Plz here, half an hour longer than it should have been. And I'll play 2 more songs to go out. One for Kiki Cheeky, and one just for the sake of it. Thank you for listening tonight, folks. It's always appreciated. Now, where did I put that track? It was here somewhere. Let me try and find it. There we go. Anyone that's ever been to the south of Silithis will understand where I'm coming from. This is Dream Theatre. This is Caught in a Web. Thank you for listening. It's good night from me. And a Merry Christmas to you all. Enjoy.